Good evening, Tottenham fans. We should bring Pochettino home, and we should do that as soon as possible. And as soon as possible, probably going to be the summer. Let's just hope we can escape relegation before this happens. Pochettino would change everything for Spurs, so let me tell you why. Firstly, the reason why I think he would change everything is he is so good with younger players. We have a wealth of young players coming through at the moment, and he just knows how to bring the best out of them. We've got people like Mikey Moore, who's doing really well out in Scotland at the moment for Rangers. Vuskovic is smashing it in Germany. You've got Yang in the Championship doing well. You've got the players that we've got at the moment, like Bergvall, Gray, Tell, Odeber, all could be top players, have the potential to be. And Pochettino would bring the best out of these players. I'm really sure of it. There's also other players coming through the academy as well that Poch would love to work with. Luca Williams, Barnett, Byfield. So there's just a wealth of young players coming through. And for me, he would be the perfect guy to bring in right now to really elevate these players up to another level. Now, people were worried about the style of play. It wouldn't work now in the modern day. For me, I think it would work more now in this modern day than it did before. His style of play, let's have a look at what it actually is. It's strong pressing, high pressing on the front foot. He makes sure his teams are solid at the back, but it doesn't take away from the attacking prowess he has up front. He likes defending strong, but also attacking strong. He loves counter attacks, but he can also play it long. He doesn't mind switching it up. He can play it out from the back, or he can play it through the middle. He doesn't mind which way he plays, but his main objective is to win the ball back within the first 5 seconds of the opposition getting the ball, and playing the right balls to attack and attack fast. This will work in the modern day football easily, in my opinion. Also, he loves physicality. If you watched Poch's prime team, remember the Battle of the Bridge when we were just super physical with Chelsea, with Dembele, Eric Dyer. Harry Kane was pretty physical back then, So we Toby, Jan, very physical defenders. Rose was physical. Walker was physical. He loves that kind of team, and that would work perfectly in the Premier League, in my opinion, right now. So when people were worried saying his style of play doesn't work, I massively disagree. If you think he was at Chelsea, I think it's 23-24 season was his last season with Chelsea. And he won 12 of the last 18 games, winning 6 of the last 6 games. He was getting to a stage where he was getting them to play how he wanted them to play, and they ended up in 6th place, and they were right near, there was like 12th, 13th when he took over. Well, 12th, 13th in the league when he was trying to get the players on board of what he wanted to do. It took him a little while, but once he got them going, they were winning every single week, and they ended up 6th in the league, and they would have pushed on, in my opinion, in the next season. They would have been even better. It baffles me why Chelsea got rid of him, but they ended up replacing him with Maresca, who didn't do nowhere near as good. So, I know Maresca won a couple of trophies, but Pochettino stayed there longer. I reckon he would have. Pochettino is out in PSG. He won 2 trophies and a league title. He got to the semi-final of the Champions League in his first half season, I think it was. I think they got rid of him because they went out in the last 16 of his first full season in the Champions League. But when he won the league in France, he was miles clear of anyone else. So I don't know what more he can do other than win the Champions League with PSG. So when people say Pochettino's career has plummeted since he's left Spurs, I disagree massively. I think he got that Chelsea team purring, and they were doing really well until obviously till the end of the season, and then they had decided to get rid of him. I think he would have done really well in the 3rd season with them. So If he comes back to Spurs, he needs to be back this time. Last time he was, they went 3 transfer windows without backing him. That would be a massive mistake again. Don't bring Pochettino back and then not back him. He's already got a nucleus of players that he can really work with. If you just added a sprinkle of quality into that team, if you went big in the summer and went big to back Pochettino, I think he could do work wonders with this Spurs squad. I really do. And now, I know Thomas Frank gets a lot of battering, but there's been so many injuries. I don't think the board's backed him too much. They could have backed him more than they did. I don't think the players respect him too much either. So there's a lot against him. So it's not all his fault. It's a range of problems in the Spurs outfit at the moment, and that's why we're heading towards relegation at the moment. Another reason is Pochettino absolutely loves Spurs. He absolutely loves Spurs. He's telling us that there's unfinished business at the moment. His dream is to come back to Spurs and win a trophy. And when he says it, you believe him. You know he's got this love for Spurs. The fans got love for him too. You know, it'll be the first time as well that the Spurs fan base, I think, would finally be united. I can hear some Spurs fans saying they don't want Poch. They think he'll be a failure and all this. But I just think I want to love Spurs again. I want to love watching Spurs and their style of playing and being fearless against anyone. It didn't matter who we was playing under Poch. And in the end, a lot of teams feared playing Spurs. That season when we came second in the Premier League, not the Leicester season, the season that Chelsea won the league. I think we won about, I don't know. I'm trying to remember what it was. I think we won about 16 of the last 18 games or something. We was winning 4-0, 3-0, 4-0. Conte's Chelsea kept winning 1-0 in the last minute, kept getting last minute winners. And Spurs had the best defense, the best attack, and still didn't get over the line. It was so frustrating. We were the best team. We even beat Chelsea 2-0 that season as well. And they were on a run of like 14 wins in a row, and then we ended up beating them 2-0. Dele Alli scored both of those goals. And it was just so good to see that Spurs playing like that. And can you imagine if Pochettino got us to that level again, how happy we would be as a fan base to finally have our Tottenham back? And it would be so Spursy to sack Pochettino, go through all this trauma, get him back, and then get back to the top again when we could have just kept him and backed him in the first place. He was crying out for a painful rebuild, as he said, and he was never backed by Enoch. And a lot of people blame Daniel Levy, but now we all starting to notice it wasn't just Daniel Levy, it was Enoch themselves. So would Poch come back? That's the biggest deal. I think he said he would love to manage Tottenham because he loves them, he loves the fans. But the only problem we have is he going to get on with this board? Is this board going to back him? They're talking the talk. They're saying they want to be ambitious. They're going to go big in the summer. Are they going to do that for Pochettino? Are they waiting for Pochettino? Is that why they're not backing Thomas Frank maybe? But still, they still could have gotten a couple of loan players to help Thomas Frank, so there's no excuses there. It will also solve that what if question. You know, we're always saying, what if Pochettino come back? What could he do? It would solve that, you know, if he came in and he was here for a couple of seasons and it petered out and we didn't really get anywhere with it, at least we would know. At least it'd be off our minds now. So that's that. But if he did come back and he made everything good again, you know, it's not going to be easy. And as fans, we've got to realize if Pochettino comes back, it's not going to work overnight. He's going to take 6 to 8 months. It took him 6 months last time to even get us going. I remember he was almost sacked in his first tenure with Spurs when Harry Kane scored that last minute free kick against Aston Villa, which deflected in, and everything changed from there. And that was, I think, 6 months into his tenure. So we have to be patient. And you can say, well, we need to be patient with Thomas Frank, but we're not seeing any progress with Thomas Frank. In fact, he's probably the worst win percentage we've ever had. And like I said, it's not all Thomas Frank. The board are not ambitious enough. The injuries are massive. So, you know, but it just doesn't do it for me. Pochettino would do it for me. And I just think if you gave him the right players, the right mentality, the right backing, he's got the surroundings, he's got the training facilities, he's got the fans behind him. I just think it's just it's just the perfect timing for him to come back. It is the perfect timing like I said, with all this youth, all these young players coming through, like top prospects coming through, and he won't be afraid to play the youngsters either. He won't be afraid to play Mikey Moore. He won't be afraid to play Vuskovic. Remember, Dele Alli came in, he was 18. I think he scored 21 goals in his first season for Spurs, and he was only 18 at the time. So Pochettino's not afraid to play them. If they're good enough, he will play them. So that's a massive plus for Spurs if they can get someone in like that. And not only that, there's even younger academy players coming through. So if Pochettino's here for a few years, we'll get to see more youngsters coming through again. He also had 5 or 6 England internationals playing, week in, week out, and they were England internationals. He got them to that level. Danny Rose, Kyle Walker, Harry Kane, Dele Alli, Eric Dyer were all in the England camp. So he can do that again. But we need to give him time. We need to give him the money. We need to give him the backing. And he can work wonders. I think his style of play is still relevant. I still think it will work in the Premier League. I don't think he's washed up like people are saying he is. We'll see anyway. When you watch the USA play in the World Cup, watch their style of play. Watch how aggressive they are when they play. Because the aggressiveness is what this Premier League is turning into at the moment. Aggressive, physical league. And that's exactly what he wants from his team. So we'll have to see. Let me know in the comments what you think. Would you take Pochettino back, or would you skip that one and go for another manager? If so, which manager would you bring in? Thank you for watching, and come on, you Spurs.